All right.
Okay, sorry. All right, so this is Mary Kate Curtin for, well, I guess not many of you all have met her, but you've probably maybe talked to her on the phone, and I'm Claire Eskew. So thanks for hopping on with us today. So we're going to go through a few best practices for naming auctions and catalogs, and then images, and then Jacob Cabetto, he is also going to share some tips about videos. We're going to have a little bit of time for open discussion. So if you have any questions, feel free to either chat or just raise your hand or go ahead and ask. We're kind of going to do a casual session today. So okay, now we are going to share our screen and hopefully it works.
Oh, it's not working.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. We're not tech support, clearly, so we needed Jacob tech support to get us through that. So thanks for waiting on us. Okay. Everybody can see the screen and hear us. So kind of how this session came to be was I was talking to JJ and Tracy at Ayers, and they kind of asked what we felt were kind of the best ways to title auctions in terms of how they display on your website. So that's sort of what started this. And then, Mary Kate has really been digging into our social media and Instagram, and she's learned a lot about images and how important it is to have quality images for online, for digital and social media use. Okay, so we're going to go. auction titles. So it's easy for auctioneers to really think like an auctioneer and not a bidder. But if you really think about it, do bidders know jargon terms that auctioneers use pretty frequently? Even online only is fairly jargony. Absolute, OLO, things like that. So try to avoid naming your auctions with those types of jargon terms at the very beginning of your title, because as those display on your website and marknetalliance.com, those are the first words that people are seeing. And if that's not immediately signaling to them what assets you're selling, they might just kind of gloss over it and move to the next row. Another thing that I notice as I help with member marketing is some inconsistencies between what you're naming your auction title. So your auction project, you go into Streamline, you name your auction, and let's say, for example, dental equipment would be what you call it in your project. But then when you go into SAM and name your catalog, maybe it's because a different cataloging team has come up with this name, or maybe it's a different day and you haven't thought back to it, and you call it Baker College equipment liquidation. So what happens is, if a bidder comes to either MarkNet Alliance or your auction company page and they click on your auction project and then they go into your catalog, that title of your catalog, if it's named different, that can be confusing. Sometimes auction companies, you'll call it, if you've got the Smith estate, and they're selling gold coins, maybe your front side, your project is called gold coins, your catalog is called the Smith estate. So just in terms of being consistent and helping to avoid confusion with your bidders, try to be consistent in how you're naming those. Okay, so keeping it straightforward, short and sweet. So we pulled up a quick example here: dental equipment, X-ray equipment liquidation. Try to avoid naming everything in your auction. You could have a 2017 Mazda, and you could have a zero-turn mower and a Polaris, and then you've got antique furniture. Try to avoid just naming everything in that, because it really makes your title longer. Maybe it doesn't fit on mobile screens very well. You're extending onto multiple lines, and it just may have sort of a cluttered look to a bidder. So think straightforward. I know it's hard because in your mind, all of the assets you're selling and you want to make sure that you're promoting all of those. But sometimes bidders, they need it more simplified. And that sort of segues into really what's going to pull in a bidder to click your auction is that lead image. So your featured photo that is your lead image on your website, also on marknetalliance.com. How clear and bold of an image is that to draw attention? We see a lot of auctioneers use collages. And I think in certain instances, those can be effective. But considering how that collage is ultimately displayed in terms of user experience, just kind of think about that. So for example, if you go to marknetalliance.com and you kind of scroll through the auctions, and this is a good way to just be a bidder, sort of take on their persona. What does your eye draw to? Does it draw to a collage that has, 8 to 10 small thumbnail photos? Is it a collage that maybe has 4 really solid images? Or is it the auction just has one strong lead image. And, as you're cataloging, maybe it's when you're out photographing and cataloging, you're thinking of all of these items that you need to put in your catalog, but maybe it's a good idea to take a step back and think, how am I going to market the sale? And maybe even before your catalog crew goes out, you have this discussion. How are we going to market the sale? Well, let's make sure before we start cataloging or as we're cataloging, let's make it a point to say, I want to get a really nice photo for my marketing. So I want some key photos for social media. I want my featured photo for my auction catalog and project, and maybe just make it a point to take very special photos for that. And that's a kind of a good practice to be in general, so that you're always thinking about how you're marketing your sale, even as you start the very beginning processes of cataloging. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Kate, and she's just going to talk specifically about how to really zhuzh up your photos.
Yeah, if they do everything that you just said, though, we don't really need much zhuzhing. So it's pretty, photos are the selling point of auctions. And what we really want to go for is to have clean, crisp photos. We want the ones with natural light, and we really don't want the blurry, grainy, or low quality photos. Now, if you do send somebody out, like Claire said, to catalog and the photos aren't the best, you can always edit them. We like to use Canva here. It's really quick and inexpensive, and it makes the photos look a lot better. It's also really good for collages too, like we were talking, or that Claire was talking about. And another fun thing on Canva that I really like is whenever people are out cataloging, sometimes they get things in the background that they don't see or notice until they get back home, and you want to make it disappear. So Canva has this really nice background, like disappearing. It's background eraser, I think is what it's called in there. And you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is upload the photo in Canva on a blank document and just hit background eraser. And it, like I showed on the screen, it takes something and turns it into something else completely. The only thing that I did was I just rotated the photo after I deleted the background and I lightened it up a little bit, but it looks like a completely different item. And so like that, either do editing like that or make sure that you have really good natural lighting. If you don't have natural lighting, you can use a flash. Sometimes flashes make the item pop out and it makes the background disappear just all on its own. The other thing that I have is, and I've noticed just a few people doing it, is that whenever you're posting on social media, you want to make sure that you have the correct image sizes when posting. So for example, like on Instagram has different dimensions than Facebook, and like than a Facebook post. The fun thing about Canva is that all you have to do is select that you're either going to post it on Facebook or Instagram. And now they have this new feature where if you're going to post on both, it fits for both Instagram and Facebook, and it doesn't make your photo look wonky. It doesn't cut out any part of the photo. Another good thing that I've noticed with Canva is for Facebook event headers. That is like a really weird dimension. And all you have to do is type in Facebook event headers into Canva, click it, and then it lays it all out for you. And you don't have to do any editing after you've finished putting the photos in, and then you just upload it to Facebook and it fits perfectly. But yeah, just clear, focused photos are the best. Photos sell, photos grab people's attention and they make them want to go to that auction. And just to piggyback on what Claire was saying, don't add a bunch of tiny photos, or try not to add a bunch of tiny photos as your main like featured photo on the auction, just because whenever you're scrolling through our website, you can't really see what those are unless you click on it. And I think that some people believe that that is their way of drawing people in, because they'll need to click on the photo to see those smaller things. But studies are showing that people, there's, attention spans getting smaller, and if they can't see it, they're just going to scroll right past it nowadays. They're not going to stop and try to look through all of your different photos. They're just going to scroll right past it. So really eye-catching, natural, bright photos with a white background or a very neutral background is what we're going for. And I think that we were going to pull up our MarkNet page here real quick and just scroll through it. Oh, whoops. Okay.
So another thing that I didn't cover in mine was avoiding using all caps in your titles, and even just extra types of symbols or punctuation. Try to simplify kind of what you're naming it. So I'm going to kind of scroll through, and we're just kind of naturally pay attention to how your eyes focus on a certain auction. So seeing here that there's a lot of all caps, kind of a mixture of caps and lowercase. Here we have a pretty clear title. This collage is it's a bit busy thinking about it in these terms. So we're kind of looking for it. Using dates like this can be a little bit jarring to the eyes, going, I don't know what that means. It doesn't appeal to me.
Mostly because, just to add on, like looking at it from a bidder's eyes right now, like if I want to know the date, you can see that there's a date underneath of it anyways. So you don't really need to throw the date in the title.
So these are just some good maybe exercises to do and this will really help too as we continue to focus on driving traffic to marknetalliance.com, which of course then leads people to your individual auctions as well. Obviously, Rowles did a really nice job with this lead image for marketing purposes. So that obviously the blue sky draws your attention into this home, and a pretty straightforward title. The landscape retirement, same there. So just, I guess, don't be afraid to look at other auction companies and copy what they're doing. Now, obviously, this collage with all of the artifacts and the arrowheads, since they all are the same item, I think it really does tell you that that's Indian artifacts. So, okay, so I am going to kind of open it up to,
You don't want to do Jacob's?
well, yeah, I just wanted to get some feedback. We're going to have Jacob do videos next, but I just wanted to, does anyone have any quick questions that they want to bring up, or any just things they want to share with the group really quick before we move on to the next section? Chat question.
It's right here. Nope. Okay.
Nobody's talked in chat.
Okay.
All right. So Jacob, we're going to let you take it from here.
Okay. So let me.
Here it is.
Okay. So I have been doing a little bit of the video work, making spotlight, like weekly spotlights to post on Instagram and Facebook. You guys may have seen some of them. But one of the things that we're trying to do is incorporate more of the videos now. And I've been going through and looking kind of the same thing Mary Kate was echoing with pictures. Video quality is very important. The way you shoot the video, how long the video is. I am putting together very short clips. However, if the video isn't that great, it's not shot well, it's shaky, it's blurry, the lighting isn't natural, etc., it makes it very hard to get a crisp video. And videos are very important when, as you guys know, you're selling real estate or cars or something that a bidder may want to see running or moving or doing what it's supposed to do. So I put together a list of 10 quick tips that you can kind of do. The first one is use a tripod. Now, a lot of people don't have tripods, don't want to go out and buy one because you guys, don't necessarily need them all the time. So below that is the tip of, if you're not going to use a tripod, try to keep the phone stable, keep it close to your body. Don't walk real fast or bounce around very much. Instead of using your, pinch to zoom and not having to walk closer to the item, walking closer and keeping that resolution is a lot better than, pinching to zoom and it getting grainy and blurry. Turning on the grid lines. So I show you how to turn on the grid lines for both iPhone and Android, depending on which cell phone you have. But turning on those grid lines really helps you center the subject. If it's a car, I did a couple example videos to show you after I go through the tips of one with grid lines on, without, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how just a few simple tips like this can make the video much better. Setting the lighting exposure, that is something you can do by just tapping on the phone and setting the lighting higher or lower. We don't really want to use the auto lighting features on the phones because we could be walking around a car or walking around an object and then the lighting gets really dark, becomes hard to see all those, really fine details that we want the bidder to see. The next thing that we can experiment with, or you guys can try and figure out, is the cinematic mode or different shooting modes on your phone. I put here that the cinematic mode will kind of pull out the subject and blur the background a little bit, but most phones have like a time-lapse mode as well. So if you're doing an auction with like maybe a bunch of toys or a lot of tools or things like that, you could always do a time-lapse mode of you guys, unboxing the toys or walking through all the tools and show how many vastly there are in a quick succession of time. If you have longer videos or any videos at all, it's better to airdrop them or transfer them directly from your phone to your computer than just emailing them. When you email things, there's a limit of how many megabytes and how big file sizes can be. And if the files are too big, it compresses the videos, it compresses the pictures, and that will really start to degrade the quality and blur them and things like that. You can edit your videos directly from your phone. Just trimming off the beginning and the end of your video clips just a little bit and doing a little bit of quick editing on your phone before you even post it or get it on a computer to actually really edit it can make drastic changes to the way the video looks, and as well as just holding your phone horizontally. So if you guys exit your screen share, I'll go ahead and share my screen and show you guys these little examples that I have. Let me see if I can do this. Yep. 1 second here. So this is my first video that I took this morning of me just kind of simply walking around my car. And I did this vertically on my cell phone. As you can see, I'm not really paying attention to how fast I'm walking or anything like that. And the video is really bumpy. it still looks good, but it's very shaky. I'm not really worried about it. Subject's not in view all the time. I'm cutting off portions of the car. So it just doesn't look that good when you try and, um, you know, market that online. Whereas in my second video, I really slowed down, held my phone horizontally, walked a lot slower. That way you can get a little bit more of the fine details and things like that and really see, all the aspects of the car that a person may want to see when they're going to bid on it or buy it. So. And one thing too is when I slowed down, I noticed my video was much longer. But that can also be helpful because it gives you a lot more footage to cut out and trim down and everything like that. So that's pretty much all I have. All my tips and tricks.
I just wanted to add, Jacob mentioned editing videos on your phone. So for the people who I mentioned Canva earlier. You can download that, can be an app on your phone. It's really easy to edit videos off of that too, as well as Adobe Premiere. You don't even need a subscription to use that as an app on your phone, and it works so well. And if anybody needs any tips on how to use either of those, you can contact me, Mary Kate at marknetalliance.com, or Jacob, and we can help you.
And just to make sure you guys heard what she's talking about, canva.com it's a free graphic design editing website. And you can pay for a pro account that then you can share, you can add team members and you can share, so you can make, branding templates with your company colors. You can share presentations, and then you all have like a central repository where you can kind of share these types of videos and photos and social media templates and things like that. So even the paid version is very affordable. I want to say it's $12.99 a month or something like that. So definitely take a look at canva.com if you're kind of looking for something that's very user-friendly and simple for your team to use. Okay, any other questions for us? I know you guys are all just riveted and
I have a question, Claire.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Tracy.
How do you keep, like when you upload a video to YouTube and you get the URL and you put it on the project, and it's playing other videos after it finishes? And I've gone back and I've put turned off the autoplay, which somebody told me to do, but I'm still getting where it's giving you those other video suggestions to play. How do I cut that off?
If you've turned off the autoplay, it won't play other videos, but it will show little thumbnails of videos that are also on your page. There's really no way to turn that off. That's just a YouTube thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. But if you turned off the autoplay, it won't play another video.
Is there a better platform to upload those to put them on our sites?
Jacob, any thoughts on that?
I mean, there are a couple. I mean, you can use like Vimeo, I believe, but I would stick typically to YouTube just because that's what everybody uses and knows.
Okay.
The one thing, like she said, there is no way to turn off the suggested videos at the end. That's one of the ways YouTube has really got people to go down those, rabbit holes of clicking on the next video and the next video. So it could be something that's helpful for you if they are looking, at other items or other videos that could be items in the auction. And you've already taken the best step that you can of turning off that autoplay. So
is there
okay, thank you.
Is there a way to make it so that those suggested videos are from your own channel, not outside of your channel?
I am not sure. I think that's all a YouTube algorithm thing. So they're gonna look at what what the bidder is looking at, maybe the item that they're on. If it's a, tractor or piece of land, and it's going to try and suggest other land or other related interests to them.
Yeah.
So
So those suggested videos are different based on the actual user and their algorithm. So what you're seeing, Tracy, might be different than someone else is seeing as a suggested video. So it's really hard to control that, obviously. So,
Okay, I didn't think about that. Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, usually whenever because like me and Jacob find video or auctions for our spotlight video weekly that comes out every Wednesday. And whenever I scroll and I find an auction that you guys put on and I see that YouTube video, it usually just pops up other YouTube videos of yours. So it's not, taken away from your page if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, it's going to suggest your videos first, but it's going to also be customized to the person who's looking at it. So it might show, if they're looking at a car and have been looking at cars, it might show other videos of cars or tractors that you have on your website. So
Anybody else? Questions? So we'll go ahead and post this on our Facebook page. And of course, if you have any other questions, or, if you're working on videos or you need help with some videos, we do have services that we offer for that. Jacob, do you want to just really quickly share the details about you customizing a video if they'd like that done?
yeah, it's something that we've kind of been working on. So I did do the tutorial videos on how to bid and everything like that. And that is something that if you guys provided us with a logo and, some of the pictures or things that you guys would want in the video, I could edit one up for you and, customize it more to your website instead of just the MarkNet Alliance brand. I do know there is a fee involved for that, but that is something we can work out more when we talk about that, because we have kind of a price point set, but it's going to come down to the number of edits and specific things that you can provide me with versus stuff I have to go get. So that is something we're negotiable on.
And we also have been doing a weekly spotlight auction video on MarkNet, and we've been releasing it every Wednesday. But if anybody out there would want to do just a personalized version of that, a weekly spotlight of your biggest upcoming auctions, we can do that for you too. I mean, me and Jacob do that, and it's definitely a service that we offer.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys know how to get a hold of most of us if you need anything else. So thank you all for hopping on.
Thanks.